This is the Narrenturm Asylum, also known as the Fool's Tower or the Lunatic's Tower. It was built in 1784 during the reign of Holy Roman Emperor Joseph II, and was designed by Joseph Ural. Joseph II personally funded the institution. He was what is considered to be an enlightened despot and an enlightened ruler, who often tried practical approaches to hard problems in his empire. It is thought that the asylum was built in response to a scandal involving a French Capuchin order after they were found to be housing mentally ill monks in underground dungeons. The building is 5 stories high, with a notably fortress-like appearance. Its stone walls are menacing and do not give the appearance of a place where the mentally ill would enjoy to be housed. It has 28 individual rooms and 139 individual cells, each with a small slit window. The central chamber is aligned north to south against the sun, so that the sunlight would never directly peer through the chambers. By 1820, the Narrenturm was considered to be closed, as it was unsuitable to run as a mental asylum. In 1857, alterations were made, and in 1870 it began to be used to house utilities for the nearby General Hospital. From 1900 onward, it lodged medical, nursing staff of the General Hospital, and later for the students and employees of the General Hospital. By 1971, it housed the Federal Pathological Anatomical Museum collection, and was later incorporated into the Natural History Museum of Vienna in 2012. The treatment of Narrenturm's patients cannot be considered modern, even during an Enlightenment era. The original function of the asylum was not to cure inmates, but rather to keep them in custody, away from the general public, and to stop them from hurting either themselves or others. Physical restraints, including chains and later straitjackets, were used to keep patients from causing havoc, controlling, quote, antisocial behavior, tearing clothes, and exhibiting lewd or sexual behavior, or stop them from committing suicide or self-harming. Patients could be whipped or beaten, chained to the floor, or starved, if not killed if they could not cooperate. The Narrenturm was not the first mental asylum of Europe. One of the most famous mental asylums is England's Bethlehem Hospital, also known as Bedlam Asylum. Founded in 1247, it was created to serve London's sick poor, but by the 15th century, Bethlehem Hospital housed mostly mentally ill patients, though today we know that many of the patients would today be diagnosed with various learning disabilities, epilepsy, or dementia. This is a trait shared with Narrenturm. Many of the patients in Narrenturm were people who could not support themselves, or their families were unable to care for them. Prior to Narrenturm's construction, the Holy Roman Empire mostly served its mentally ill patients only if they could pay, or more in fact, if their family could pay for a private institution. Today, the Narrenturm hosts both the Natural History Museum and the pathological anatomical collection with many hundreds of thousands of specimens. Over 50,000 human remains have been collected since 1796, with their collection emphasizing medical anomalies and interesting medical phenomena. Some of the specimens displayed in the Narrenturm today include a grossly bloated liver, the deformed skeleton of a young girl with hydroplasty, and an infant with lacerated skin. A question of ethics surrounding the display has been considered. Curator Edward Winter stated that the museum tries to, quote, avoid voyeurism by giving as much explanation as possible. The museum does give a lot of context on how they collected these specimens, where they collected them, and disallow photographs in the gallery. However, as a personal viewer, I found it difficult to weigh the medical anomalies I saw around me with the reality of the building and its history. I personally wondered if the Narrenturm would be better suited to a museum about the history of mental asylums. However, I do not believe that disallowing the collection of medical anomalies for the purpose of study should be stopped. In fact, I believe that the collection of these medical anomalies can help scientists and doctors understand the human body better